Alright, so in this run I decided to play Bavaria. Well, not exactly. Bavaria isn't a star nation you form it. But I played a nation that owns Munich, which is pretty much close to Bavaria. So, initially I started off the game with just some minor conquests. I had some diplomatic issues with the Austrian player, but they don't end up forming too much. Right here I'm trying to get Bavaria's claims in Germany, meanwhile Western Europe is in havoc. Germany's just kind of chill. But you just see armies in the corner, France sieging down Burgundy, Flanders I think, sieging down Burgundy, Burgundy sieging down Provence. Whole big war going on in Western Europe, and also Austria annexed Czechia, which is a mild concern of mine at this part of the run, but it's perfectly fine as of now. Anyway, the war in the West is starting to enter its calm period as of now, and Brittany was getting sacked. Anyway, ignoring that, back to the peaceful Germany part. I was trying to consolidate southern Germany. Meanwhile, Prussia's being Prussia, I guess, in the north. Switzerland's also being sacked. The war's starting to spread a little bit. But I'm just kind of chilling on the sidelines. France was starting to not do so great at this point of the war. Sure, the war ends, but France soon has issues. Well, not soon, but it has issues. Other than being France, it has issues. Anyway, I go ahead and siege down a little fort over there in central Germany, and I take it. My goal is to get into the Rhine at this point in the game. But soon after this point, I just take land beyond it. Yeah, there we go. I took land beyond it. But I asked the Dutch player if he wanted some land, and I guess he took some. He didn't take that much. Like maybe 3-4 provinces at most. Anyway, that Brunswick player, I didn't. I was tentative friends with the Brunswick player, because I didn't want him intruding on my plans with Prussia. But the thing is, Saxony does cost a lot of political power in this game if you don't border it directly. So, but my game just crashed because my PC was, well, yeah, it's not the only reason, but the PC wasn't doing that great. Anyway, Saxony, it's okay for monetary gain, I guess, but if you're playing Bavaria, you should probably collect in Vienna. That's where I collect in most Central European runs, other than Venice, obviously. And, the English Channel, too. And Lubeck. Vienna's more like a fourth, but whatever. Saxony falls roughly around here, and also here I'm trying to cut off Hanover from getting more Prussian land in my planned invasion. I also plan to call Poland in, and Sweden, I think, also joins at some point. Anyway, I go ahead and siege down modern-day Germany as the war leader. I go ahead and siege some more territory. That's basically what my claims are, and I just siege some more. But, I think I'm doing pretty good at this point so far. Sweden gets the land, Poland gets the land partially, and I go ahead and clean up some of northern Germany. That war with Prussia was really the death nail in Hanoverian expansion. I think I mispronounced that. Hanoverian expansion, yeah, there we go. But anyway, we're still a little bit away from, well, not but a little bit, but we're well way away from forming Germany. But not that far away from forming German borders properly. Well, like German Empire borders, sorta. I don't actually invade Poland in this game, so they get to keep their lands, I guess. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean I lose any Pomeranian land or anything. It just looks like that. Basically 1936 without some regions and East Prussia. So the eastern border isn't that bad. But now I have a big gaping hole called Hanover over there. Well, ignoring that for now, my plans were on Austria, because I did want to be able to form Germany. So I invaded Austria. Now, the borders may be temporarily pretty bad, because I just wanted to not spend that much political power. That's just me. If you want to do something else, you're fine doing that, I guess. But I just wanted to have less political power spent. So anyway, some revolts happened, which you could probably expect if you're playing Germany, because some parts of Germany, like German regions, are Polish majority. Well, Western Slav, I guess I should say. So it's like professional or something. But anyway, just make sure. Well, you don't really have to, but you could course Silesia if you want, I guess. In like one region called Sorbia. I'm not sure if the actual province is called that, but that's where the Sorbian people live, which is like Slavs in Germany. But anyway, Austria is getting clapped here. And they basically just reduced to Hungary after the war. At this point, I'm trying to consolidate most of Germany, but there's still stuff going on in the rest of Europe. Like, you could see Switzerland being sieged down over there in the corner. So, the Swiss aren't doing that great, I guess, but I'm doing mostly fine. And also, the Ottomans are over sieging the Netherlands. Basically, at this point of the game, you have World War I, but I'm not involved in it. I'm involved in the World War after that. But that's like a lot later in the game. Here I'm sieging on Hanover, trying to get Germany consolidated. But again, I have some rebel issues, and Prague, that's a pretty big rebel stack, so I've made a large army. And that doesn't do that great with my economy. But I'm doing mostly fine. I don't have any large rebellions in this game, really. But I joined the war with Hamburg, I think, just because I was a Dutch ally, so I guess I did. The Ottomans go ahead and invade into the Dutch again. I just let them use my land as a highway, so I just allied them, basically. I didn't want to get involved here, I just wanted to chill. But my economy was not at a point where I could just chill. So, yeah. Also, England is divided between Ireland and I think Scotland at this point. So, there's that. Anyway, my Polish and Swedish allies are still kind of vibing, they're just developing their lands. Eventually, East Prussia becomes pretty developed in this game, but I didn't want to form Germany, which meant I wouldn't get like easy claims on East Prussia. But my core map does look kind of better. I go bankrupt because the economy was just not functioning properly. I did DevMax a little bit though, so Germany is a little bit well off. Not in some aspects. Anyway, France was being butchered, as I mentioned earlier. You can see a big Burgundy over there. I didn't really catch the part in the game where France actually got butchered, like in my actual run. But anyway, the Ottomans are fighting Bavaria and Brittany. Not Bavaria, I forgot the name of the province. That's fine. They're basically just fighting France. And also the Dutch too, I guess. Basically, the Balkans of the Ottomans are sacked, and Mamluks, they're just vibing, I guess. They're collecting their troops, and they go ahead and attack Brittany, Burgundy, and the Dutch back. Anyway, Aquilian goes in, and they do a pretty good job destroying Burgundy and Dev, but it eventually just gets kicked out. And my main goal here is to vassalize Austria, which is basically just Hungary at this point. Because the Ottomans might have some plans there, and I'd rather not have to deal with that. Anyway, my army is non-existent at this point. The Ottomans are just kind of chilling there over in Croatia, and I'm just kind of vibing. At this point I went AFK for a little bit, so you could see the chat flashing in and out of existence over in the corner. But just keep in mind I'm getting richer at this point, so at the point in which I do come back in this run, I am able to spend some stuff. And that's pretty good, in my opinion. One note, Hamburg went colonial, I think, so yeah. So I went ahead and devved some stuff, I guess. It wasn't that much, because, again, my economy wasn't doing that great. But it's fine, I guess. I form my armies up, and I go ahead and invade Austria, which I guess is just Hungary. One note about Austria here is I don't need that much war score really to like consolidate them. Also, the game didn't freeze. This is just me going AFK again because I have some stuff to do. Anyway, in the meantime, you can see the Ottomans just chilling, I guess. Austria is vassalized. The Dutch and the Ottomans are still at war, I think. This was a pretty long world war for the server. But I'm just kind of chilling at this point. The Ottomans go ahead and siege down the Dutch and they peace out, finally. I decided this is a perfect opportunity for me to take my, like, modern day German borderlands. So I form my army up, and I go ahead and send it into the Dutch. It does pretty good. They actually just accept peace terms, and that's about it. Anyway, now I have basically the entirety of Germany consolidated, like 1848 German Confederation borders, which look pretty good on a map. The Dutch left, so I claimed the Netherlands, but I don't actually redeem that claim until like, well, not that specific claim, but I renewed it. I don't redeem my Dutch ambitions until way later in the run. But I go ahead and secure more of Germany. I decided that World War happened earlier was kind of fun, so I wanted to get involved, but a little bit later. But at this point, just keep in mind I'm just kind of building up. Burgundy invades Dutch, and they get some success, I guess. And around here, I'm preparing for World War, the second one. Also, Hamburg, they get in, but like a little bit later. It was like scheduled, so the teams weren't that unbalanced. We just want to have a World War for fun. Well, I did. And I guess the Ottomans and Hamburg too, not necessarily Burgundy, because he just went through in one. But it's fine. I go ahead and build up my army a little bit. And I don't think I actually declared a war, someone else declares on me, I think. But to be fair, if you just see your army just building up, then you might want to do something about it. I didn't want to really do anything about Italy's revolts at this time. But I go ahead and core some more of Germany, until basically just Czechia's left, and there's the war declared on me. And we win. And my armies go ahead and advance into France. And Paris is almost captured. Hamburg joins on the enemy side. And soon we get to the race to the navy. But at this point, Burgundy, Brittany, they're not doing good. Hamburg's armies are just kind of there, I guess, in Germany. They exist. Burgundy's on the run. Basically, Burgundy's getting their teeth kicked in at this point. They're just not doing that great. But Hamburg, Burgundy, this is just the part where I'm dominating the entire war with the Ottomans. With the Ottomans helping, I should say. If you're watching this with video, that might not make that much sense. But it's fine, I guess. Just watch the video. I have some naval skirmishes over in Germany. I tried to cash them with the navy, but it just did not work. I tried to build up a navy too, but it also did not work that well. Which, I mean, it's fine, but mildly disappointing. Hamburg has a massive navy that's protecting Britain, and the main goal of this war is to get to Scotland, which we don't actually really do. But anyway, Hamburg manages to land over in France again, and I am running extreme deficit to try and beat their armies, which I do successfully, but I get bankrupt, so that kind of ruins some stuff. Anyway, my bankrupt navy goes ahead and combats Hamburg's smaller navy and fails. It's bankrupt. But me and the Ottomans are still kind of holding our own anyway. Basically, it just turned from us winning to us fighting, I guess. I'm not losing here, but I'm not really winning either. I'm just kind of surviving, I guess. Well, I wouldn't really say that. I'm still doing pretty good, but like not as good. Anyway, I'm doing pretty fine. I'm trying to draw the enemy armies into Germany, and it works. They get kicked out, and the Ottomans go ahead and siege down Brittany. My main goal for capturing France earlier was so Burgundy probably wouldn't be able to spawn any troops. But if you were able to see it, they did after they were able to get some land in France again. Anyway, I'm no longer bankrupt at this point, so the Hamburg alliance might be screwed here. Anyway, this war was super fun, so I didn't really want to take any major concessions, but I guess the Ottomans did. I don't know. But Italy, I didn't want to fix Italy, so it's just a scattered mess. And I pieced out, but the Ottomans, they officially got like a full victory, and they vassalized Brittany for some reason. The main goal was not to like do that to any of the players, but it happened anyway, I guess. Hamburg tried to build Brittany out, but I don't think it actually amounted to anything. I checked on Poland. Poland was a bit busy. But at this point, I just kind of chill out. I help out the Ottomans, and I'm worried to have the Mamluks, because, I mean, they did help me out in Europe. I'm pretty sure I'd probably be a good thing to help them out in, like, Asia-ish. Anyway, my Austrian vassal, I'm not sure if you caught that, but it dealt the Swiss pretty effectively at the start. I try and blockade the straits of, I should say the Isthmus of the Bosphorus. It works pretty well. I help out Italy this time, and I squash their rebels with some mild Italian help. Well, not really mild, but they did help. Anyway, the one thing this game should add is like AI ships being existing, but also like AI armies taking attrition to ships. They didn't really take any attrition to my ships. Anyway, the Ottomans leave soon, but I do help them out to some extent over against the Mamluks, which works pretty well. I try and go siege Cairo, but the Ottomans just leave. So I'm just kind of left with my siege of Cairo, and I just decided to take some Mamluk money, and that's about it. And it works pretty well. The Ottomans are still being sacked. I left the war, so he might not be having that great of a time. And I decided to take over the Netherlands while I'm at it. This is going to be the final conquest of the video. Anyway, the Dutch get sacked, basically. Amsterdam gets avoided. But around this point, we're approaching the end of the video. I took the Netherlands, I checked the culture map a little bit later, and also the vassal map, but roughly at this point, it's over. I formed Germany, and that's about it. See you guys.